All right, good evening. Let's call to order the meeting of the Batavia Public Library District Board of Trustees for October 18th. And let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Blodgett, absent. Deichmann?
Here.
Henders?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Sullivan?
Here.
Von Lunen?
Here.
Schuster here.
Okay. I apologize if my voice is a little funny or if my face looks a little funny. I had some dental work this evening, so it's a work in progress here. I'll do the best I can. All right, item 4 is comments from the audience. Does not look like we have anyone here this evening, so we'll move on to item 5. Our consent agenda tonight consists of minutes from September 20th, expenditures from September, and then 3 action items: the levy of 0.02% for our maintenance fund, a resolution declaring select library equipment and furniture to be surplus, and C3 is a drinking fountain. So would any trustee like to remove any of these items for a separate vote? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Henders and second by Schuster. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Roll call.
All right.
Blodgett is not here, sorry. Deichmann?
Here, yes.
Henders? Sorry.
Aye.
Okay, Smith?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Von Lunen?
Aye.
Schuster, aye.
Okay. Okay, consent agenda is approved. Item 6 is our approving our regular agenda. Any suggested changes? No? Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I so move.
Okay, moved by Von Lunen.
I'll second.
And second by Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, agenda's approved. Okay, President's report. I don't have anything to report this evening. Any good news or comments from the board? Okay, fair enough. We will
Doug,
move-
I went to
Okay.
one of the Sunday afternoon presentations a couple weeks ago. And the performer got his bearings a little bit confused and came about an hour late. He told him the library was off of Main Street. So he came down from Barrington and went down Randall Road and turned left on Main Street and went to St. Charles.
Okay.
So he got down here and he sang a lot of Neil Diamond songs.
Oh, okay.
It was good. The audience, I was surprised, was elderly, to say the
Okay.
least. There were no young people there.
Okay.
Which, I guess on a Sunday afternoon, it was
Okay.
nice.
So worth the wait, I guess, is the...
Oh, yeah, it was worth the
is
wait.
verdict?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Okay, so item 9 is correspondence and communications. Nothing this month. Okay. Moving right along to item 10, director's report. George?
Nothing really special. I'll highlight that I gave you a sneak preview of the next column in the series on our early history in honor of the 150th anniversary of library service in Batavia that will appear in the next issue of Neighbors. So, a lively time in Batavia back in the 1870s and 70s. Otherwise, we've got the standard statistical reports and such in here for your consideration.
Okay, questions for George? All right, so we'll move along to the librarian's reports. Joanne, welcome.
Good evening.
First, I just wanted to kind of diverge a little bit from my usual report and just say, and I may have missed since I walked in a little bit late, I've certainly enjoyed working with Leah Pottle, who is leaving us, and we certainly wish her well. Leah has been a wonderful HR manager for us for a number of years and well liked by the staff, and we'll miss her, but we certainly wish her well on her next endeavor. So, thank you. A couple things I'm just going to highlight from my youth services librarian's report is 1,000 books before kindergarten. We were actually at 137 registered young kids. So in a month, we are very excited about that. And in fact, Kathleen Redmond, who is spearheading this project, is like, oh my gosh, that's way ahead of our target, of numbers. But we think that's great as long as they're reading and we're getting people excited and they're trying to read those 1,000 books before kindergarten starts. We're very happy about that. Our annual bookmark contest is in full swing, so for the benefit of BATB, if there's a first, second, third, fourth, or fifth grader who hasn't turned in and is still interested in turning in a bookmark entry, we're accepting those through October 31st. BatFest is this Saturday, and we are once again hosting BatFest Stories. It looks like the weather will be good enough for us to be out in the reading garden. Last year we were moved indoors because of rain. Our friends will be once again selling their coupon books for their All Hallows Read. So they'll be joining us outside, and I believe the foundation might be out there having information about the maps or something out there. So. And two other upcoming programs I want to point out is our preschool fair. This is already the 10th year we're hosting that event. It has become a great event, a great opportunity for families with preschool, with young children, infants and toddlers who are looking at preschool. This is a great kind of college fair format where they can come in and get a flavor of many different preschools and then really hone in on ones they want to visit. And it's been very well received. It is so well received, we can only accommodate the preschools from the Batavia Library District and the Geneva Library District since we co-host this event. We get questions from a lot of other preschools, can't we come, but we just don't have room for them. So we limit it to our two library districts, but it is a great event, and we'll be hosting that on November 14th. And I would once again like to invite any board member who is interested in reading for Celebration of Lights. We're once again hosting our Celebration of Lights reading corner on November 27th down at the Depot Museum. This year it's going to be a few minutes longer. They asked us to do a whole hour this year. We've been kind of going to more 45 minutes after the tree lighting, and they've pushed around the schedule this year. So they've asked us to go from a whole hour from 6 till 7. So if anybody's interested in reading, just let me know and we'll be happy to work you into the schedule. Otherwise, things are going great down in youth services. We still have a couple positions that we're working on interviewing for, so hopefully by next month I'll be able to introduce some new staff to you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Stacy, welcome.
Thank you. A few things I'd like to highlight this evening. First is that we have a new Civil War letters and diaries landing page on the website. This was the project for which we received a grant from the Illinois State Historical Records Advisory Board. We finished much of the work earlier in the year, and then this is a landing page that kind of puts the letters and diaries in context. So I've printed off the pages. It's prettier if you look at it on the website. Currently, if you go to the library homepage, there's a link right on the homepage that will take you to this landing page, which has some photographs that show you what the originals look like. There are also some photos. I want to thank Chris Winter from the Batavia Depot Museum, who provided some photographs of some of the writers of the letters and diaries, which are a really exciting addition as well. There's also a photograph of a gravestone in a military cemetery that I visited in St. Louis. So that's on there too. You're going to want to see it. So I also want to thank our webmaster, Hans Kaiser, who put together all of this material that I dumped in his lap, and he made it look good. And our next new Lyceum lecture is coming up Tuesday, November 1st, 7 o'clock. Pam Otto and Dave Soderstrom are going to be talking about ospreys, who are an endangered species but are right here in our area. So the lecture is called Osprey Ways, Tuesday, November 1st, 7 o'clock. And hot off the press, I'm going to send this around as well. I imagine you all received the ILA Reporter from the Illinois Library Association. We are featured in a paragraph in the article about Pokemon Go. So it's on the second page. I put a little sticky note right next to it. One of the librarians who worked on this project, which was a collaboration between youth services and adult services, sent in this information when there was a request for what are libraries doing with Pokemon Go, and it ended up in this really nice write-up in the ILA Reporter that called out this interesting and creative way that we did a really low-tech thing to include the younger children in the project. And it was wildly popular while it ran, and then it ended. It was a flash in the pan, and we were right there for the flash. So I've sent that around too, but you probably all have this in your mailbox at home, so take a look. All right. Any questions?
All right, thank you,
Thanks.
Stacy. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to item 11, committee reports. Did we, oh, okay. Facilities Committee, 11A. Andrew, anything to report there?
Yeah, we did have a meeting this month. We talked through a few things, one of which was the water fountain, which we put on the consent agenda, which adds a bottle filling station, which is going to be, I think, a nice addition for us. One of the other items is further down on the agenda here, which is the snow removal services.
Okay.
Those were the, we had one other item, which we just, what was the other one? Landscape services?
Those are the two big action items.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mind is trying to blank.
All right,
Oh,
questions?
the surplus property.
Oh, right, that was on the
Which is
consent
also.
agenda too. So, okay.
All right. Questions for Andrew then? All right. Thank you. All right, 11B is finance. Tom, anything to report there?
Yes, we had an ordinance that we put on a consent agenda, two of them actually. One of them was for the additional tax of 0.02% for maintenance and building equipment. As I say, that was on a consent agenda, that went through. We have another resolution coming up later for the estimation of tax levy and the amount of money that we'll need to run the library. And then we had the insurance policies for the business, for the library, the automobile, commercial liability, workers' compensation. That had not come in yet, but it's in the package tonight to be voted on. And then, of course, you have your annual statements that are here also.
Okay.
And that's about it.
I have a question for you. Is that maintenance fund the pot of money from which our building project came from in, I guess that was 2 years ago now, right?
Well, we finished last spring. It was partly that and mainly the special reserve fund. We actually,
Okay, right.
the special reserve fund was the bulk of it.
I think this is more just the maintenance of the building and general maintenance.
And we can use it for special projects,
Right.
but most of the money came from the
Okay.
special reserve fund.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Tom? All right. 11C is Outreach Committee. Rich, anything to report there?
We met earlier this month and talked more about the community engagement that we were looking at and started to talk about putting together an RFP. And it became clear to me that I really don't know enough about putting together a detailed RFP like that would end up being. We're going to go over it again probably next month and hopefully come up with an RFP to move forward on that.
Okay.
That's our plan at this point.
What's the RFP? I'm sorry.
Request for proposals.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else for Rich then? Okay, thank you. Services did not meet. 11E is the foundation. Kara, anything there?
Well, we have something very exciting that we're working on, a fundraising event that's going to be an adult spelling bee in April. So those of you that are still practicing, I before E except after C and all that. So yeah, we're trying to put that, we're working on putting that together, to get some money so we can help out the library a little bit more. And we're going to be at, thanks to Joanne, we're going to be at Bat Fest this weekend, distributing bookmarks and information regarding the MAP project, and probably some candy too. So that's going on with the foundation.
Okay. All right, thank you. Questions for Kara? All right. 11F is Friends. Tom?
Friends met, and they're doing real well for us. They're very successful. Their book sales continue to roll right along. We were wondering what they do with the books that don't sell, and they have a couple of outlets for them. One is a buyback program from a company that buys some of them back. Except the box them up and send it to them. They also send it to Garfield Park School, which doesn't have a library, so they appreciate the books, and Mutual
Where
Ground.
is that school?
Garfield Park, it's in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago. Okay, yeah, okay, got it.
On the west side.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I've been there, okay.
And then they also send books down to Mutual Ground. For those of you who are interested, they put the books out, they leave them out for approximately 6 months, and then they pull them out. If they haven't sold in 6 months, they take them off. They go through and see if there's any of any value to this one company, and if so, they put those aside, and everything else they just distribute out as best they can. So these are two avenues that they're using, the Garfield Park School and Mutual Ground, especially for the children's books. January, they're having a January mailing of their membership for the Friends. That'll go out in January for new members and reassignments. They, as Joanne mentioned, they have the book coupons. They're 25 cents a piece. All hell is read, and they're 10 for $2.50 on a sheet, and that entitles the bearer to a book when they come to the book sale. They also have their 2007 calendars on sale, and those are $8 a piece. And they've also scheduled their book sales again, 2017, for the second week of the month, second Saturday of the month. So that's already set up. And they are in the process of looking into Friends of the Library t-shirts for those members that are interested in them. And the big thing was that they came out and donated a lot of money to the library. One big thing that they did was a 36-inch printer for the library and a book truck to the tune of $18,868.54. And that's just the beginning of a list that George gave them, and they went through and approved just about everything on that list. So we thank the Friends of the Library and for the great work they do in helping us make Batavia Library what it is.
Yep, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing group.
To add to that, in August, late July and August, I solicited from all the managers ideas we put on the wish list, and the Friends have been very generous with us. So we got quite a representation of different departments in the library. So we're very excited by the support.
What was the total dollar amount of all those gifts?
Let's see, I think was it $18,868.54.
Wow.
That was
Right.
everything. And they raised anywhere from our participation in Neighbors Magazine, Newspaper Project, put putting them all on files. Summer reading club, winter reading club, One Book, One Batavia. So they really help us on a lot. And as I said, the big item was the printer for CAD and general purpose.
Michelle, truly appreciate it was in use the day they bought it.
They make big posters on it now.
In fact, up by the checkout desk, those banner posters that are on display underneath that little divider counter there, they're now doing all those.
In-house.
They used to do them in pieces, and now it's like one big poster. It's awesome.
Like, speaking on behalf of the Friends, the library is very cooperative with the Friends group, and so it's really nice to get requests from all of the various divisions in the library so that we can help them out.
It won't be long before we put back up the tree the Friends provided for us last year.
That's true.
The best was the writing vacuum cleaner.
The Friends board is very enamored.
We like.
Nice, okay, thank you, Joanne. I have one more question. How does one go about buying those coupons for books?
I think they're available at the circulation desk.
They're at the checkout
Okay.
desk.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, the Friends group is going to be selling them in the
We'll
lobby.
start out here.
Story time in the lobby until about 11 and then outside.
Okay.
And if you're not familiar with that idea, it was started by the author Neil Gaiman, and it's like, you give a scary book for a Halloween treat, probably in addition to some candy rather than instead of, but it's
The kids would hope so anyway.
Right.
It's so funny when I hand goes out at Halloween, they kind of look at it like,
Well,
what?
thanks.
What?
And then I say,
It's candy too.
then dig in.
Yeah, right.
We had a bunch of the tickets that we were giving out, and, my first reaction was, they're gonna think of this like broccoli. But some of the kids were just so excited. Daddy, Mommy, I got a book, I got a book. It was really neat, yeah.
And they get to pick their book too. It's- You're not even, it's like a gift card,
And they get a
Christmas.
50-cent book for 25 cents. So
Sure.
it's a deal.
Okay, cool. All right, any other questions for Tom? Okay.
Thank you.
Great, moving on to 11G, which is Link.
It turns out that the October meeting was canceled.
Okay.
However, nearly all the member libraries, 6 or 7 now, have approved the agreement with Swan. So that's moving along throughout the consortium. And some sad news, Joanne Surratt, who's administrative assistant and other business manager, I'm not sure what all her titles are, like, her husband passed away this week, and he had been ill, thought he was recovering, and took a turn for the worse, so he passed away. We're sending a card, but I just want to let you know that it's some sad news for her.
Okay. Condolences to her family. All right. Questions for George on that? Okay. And then 11H is VATV. Kara, anything to report there?
No, business as usual.
Okay, fair enough. Any questions about that?
Oh, they actually, I was interviewed by Ellen on Ellen Huxtable's show.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
What's it say?
She gets a handful of different community
Yeah,
people each
right.
month, and through some misfortune on my part, I actually caught it on VAT. I don't like to see myself these things, but it actually turned out pretty well.
Yeah, she does a great job
Yeah.
with that show. She brings in some really interesting people, and yourself
It
included.
was a lot of fun.
And,
Jennifer
yeah.
DuBose
Yeah, she was on there,
was
yeah.
on the same episode that I was
Yeah,
on. So.
yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It's a little extra PR, that
Definitely.
is airing. I don't know when it's airing, but it's on. It's on VATV.
Right. There's lots of good programming on VATV.
Okay. Anything else on BATV then? All right. Moving on then to item 12 is financial reports. Joe, anything to add to the documents in our packet?
Unless there are any questions. And I apologize, my voice, I've got bad allergy attacks.
Okay.
Since Julie Wilkie from the audit firm is here, I'll defer to her.
Okay.
Joe, I did have one question on, if I can find it now.
Do you want to have her give her presentation first and then ask?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Sure,
great.
yeah.
She might answer the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're Jamie.
I am.
Okay, welcome.
So Jamie Wilkie, one of our audit partners with Lauterbach and Eamon. So I'd like to start off tonight first thanking Joe and the rest of the staff. So the board is aware we had no significant audit adjustments. I think we had an adjustment for a couple $100 that needed to be posted at year end. That is not typical when we come in to do our audit testing. So usually in the government world, we have some of those kind of end of year adjustments that have to be accounted for. Accrual type adjustments, long-term debt, capital assets, etc. Joe handled all of those prior to us coming in to do our testing. So I wanted to thank him and make sure the board was aware that it was such a clean, well-prepared audit package. So thank you, Joe. That is also evidenced in the fact that you probably have in front of you what we call our management letter. You'll actually see there are no new recommendations, so we're continuing some work on capital asset records, but we have no new recommendations to bring to the board or to management as far as requiring implementation for this next year. So we'll continue to work through kind of cleaning up capital asset records and getting those up to snuff. So.
You mentioned in the letter that you prefer to see that done monthly rather than annually.
Some more regular cycle. For some of our libraries, depending on volume, that might be quarterly. So we always try to have that cost-benefit ratio of I don't want a ridiculous amount of time spent every month, but it is hard to come in for the year-end audit and try to, recompile all the capital asset activity for the entire fiscal year. So if we can get into some kind of normal cycle of going through that process, I think in the long run it'll help staff and help in the audit process itself. Okay. And certainly I would consider that more of a housekeeping type of comment, nothing of concern. Okay. I do want to point out then in the larger document a couple of key pieces within that report. And so if you flip back just a few pages to pages 1 and 2 of that larger document, you'll find the independent auditor's report. The library received what we call an unmodified opinion. That is the highest level we are able to issue. That means the financial statements as presented are materially correct. Okay. Immediately after the audit opinion, you should find a divider page labeled Management's Discussion and Analysis. You'll find 11 pages here marked MD&A 1 through 11 at the bottom of the report. This is really the executive summary to the report. So as you go through it, there are a lot of numbers, some significant disclosures. Unfortunately, in the government world, our reports tend to just keep getting bigger and bigger. So that trend is going to continue, unfortunately. But in these 11 pages, Joe has really done an excellent job of highlighting some of the key transactions for the year. I would encourage the board, if you haven't read those pages in detail yet, to do so. They tend to be less technical and less kind of accounting terms and more really kind of everyday discussion about what happened here at the library for the fiscal year. Included in that, you'll see discussion about revenue trends, expenditure savings, capital asset investments, and long-term debt activity for the year. Okay. I do want to point out the general fund, so the main operating fund, and that's all the way back on page 33 of the document. Page 33 is what I consider to be our scorecard for the general fund, and by scorecard I mean how did we compare to budget. So if you take a look at the appropriation column, which is technically that legal level of spending for the library, if you look at the third line up from the bottom on page 33, you should see in the budget column there a surplus of $265. So that was what was originally anticipated through the budgetary process. You'll see then in the actual column, the corresponding number is actually a surplus of about $29.5 thousand. Okay? Oh, yeah. Here, let me.
Not every page is numbered. I think that was.
Yeah, this is
Oh, okay.
MD&A 1 through, yes, thank you.
These are all lined up.
So the budget, again, $265 surplus. The actual for the year was $29,527. Really, you'll see the majority of that coming on the expenditure side of the equation. So expenditures were significantly under budget for the year, so some cost controlling measures during the year. You'll also see, if you look at the transfer outline, we have $199,585 coming out of the general fund, which was budgeted at just over $60,000. So that was some additional dollars as well that was able to be put into the special reserve fund. So when you talked about the library improvements from a couple years ago, that is predominantly the fund that supported those expenditures. Right.
More needed.
We're trying to rebuild it.
Yeah. If you look at the very last number on the bottom of that page, we have ending equity of $768,893. That, if you compare it to your expenditures, is about a 28% reserve. So just over about 3 months of operating activity. Your reserve policy, your minimum that you've established here internally is 2 to 3 months. So you're just over that minimum requirement, which is great. So that surplus helped contribute to getting us to that 28% level. Okay. I really don't have anything else specific unless there are questions that the board has. I can tell you it was a very clean audit process, really nothing required to be communicated here to the board tonight. So thank you again, Joe, for all your efforts.
Okay. Jamie, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yes.
I have a question, I think it's more for Joe, and I'm sure we talked about this before, but the revenues, under revenues, it says program revenues, charges for services. Last year was $45,007, and this year is $19,800.
Page are you on?
On page MDA 5.
Towards the front of the report.
I'm just wondering what that's income, so what did we do last year that we didn't do this year, or?
I'm sorry, what was the page number?
MD&A 5.
In great part, it's automatic renewals.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of it. Yeah, so our fine revenue has dropped significantly because of that. There may be other things in there as well, but I think it's the fine revenue.
It was principally the fine.
So we're saving our clients $20,000 in fines.
Yeah,
That's good, isn't it?
yeah, 20,
Yeah.
And it is fines and forfeitures. If you look at page 34, you'll see the revenue detail for the general fund compared to budget. You guys were anticipating about $47,000 in budgeted fines, and the actual is our $19,804. Yes.
we anticipated that. I think we reported that we anticipated that. We didn't know how much it would be. Now we have a better idea about how much
Sure.
it will be.
Well, it's certainly a benefit for our readers, because
Absolutely.
you get an automatic renewal unless it's on a home list or something, so that's pretty
Right.
good. Even I can read a book in 4 weeks.
Uninterrupted. Okay, well, Jamie, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks to Joe, too. We've certainly had some turnover in the last year or so in this area, and it sounds like nothing was swept under the rug during that transition, and that's a really good thing for us on the board to hear, so.
Yes, we've had, I think, an excellent working relationship with Joe coming back in and being able to kind of help answer questions, and the audit went very smoothly, so thank you.
Great, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may make a quick comment too, I got into this position with a lot of assistance from Leah. I'm sure I wouldn't have been in as good shape as I was, except for help and guidance early on, so I'd be great to see her go as well, so.
Okay.
Thank you again, Leah.
All right, thanks for saying that. Okay. Okay, so that was 12A and B. And 12C now is our resolution determining the amount of money estimated to be necessary to be raised by the tax levy. So, I don't know, Tom, do you want to introduce this at all as finance chair?
It's basically, we do this every year. We have to come up with the amount we feel is necessary to continue with our services, and it's generally what we need to run the business, basically. And then that goes out to the county, and then the county adjusts that to a percentage, and comes back with what we do. But we have to go to them ahead of time, so they can get all the numbers put together and see who needs what money.
Right.
So that's.
So they should collect the tax on our behalf, of course. Right, okay. Joe or George, anything to add to the memo here?
No,
Okay.
it's, you and I were talking a bit before the meeting, and it's unusual to see this kind of a drop in levy, but it's a function of the last 2 years taking a much closer look at what our budget appropriation was, because this grows out of our annual budget appropriation, and we're just calculating a little bit tighter, I think, than we were, but we still anticipate getting the full value from the tax levy next year.
And even though we specify a dollar amount, it comes back as a percentage. So, right, George?
That's, yes, well, yeah, it's.
So we don't always get what we ask for, but we get a percentage of the total pie.
It's a very complicated calculation sheet that we get.
And what we ask for doesn't necessarily correspond with our budget, correct?
We usually get less than we have requested
Right.
each year. I was mentioning to Doug that this time around, this year we got a slightly higher number in our bonds because of the territory that is taxed for the construction bonds is bigger than our district now because of annexations by Aurora and North Aurora. So there's been some development in those areas that caused the EAB to go up, which caused us to receive more than we actually requested on the bond levy. But for everything else, it was, very flat.
Right. Okay, and I guess we shouldn't move through this one without mentioning that hopefully the taxpayers of the Batavia Library District will be happy to know that this tax that we're levying for 2016 is actually a decrease of 0.4327% from the previous year. So that's hopefully good news for all of us who pay taxes here in this district. And, okay, any other questions on this? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve this one.
I so move.
Okay, moved by Von Linden and second by Henders. And I guess we can do a roll call here.
Okay. Deitchman,
Yes.
Henders,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Van Lunen,
Aye.
Schuster, aye.
Okay, our levy is approved. Thank you.
I should mention that the November meeting will start off with a public hearing for the actual ordinance, and then the ordinance itself will be on the November agenda. So this triggers the beginning of the process, and this is the truth in taxation piece in the law, and then next month the board will actually adopt the annual levies.
Right, okay. And we also did a public hearing was that for our budget and appropriation?
Right.
Okay, so do we have to do two different public
Right, the
hearings each
statutes
calendar
call
year?
for a public hearing for the annual budget appropriation and a public hearing for the,
Okay,
to give the citizenry plenty of opportunity to give us feedback if they wish.
right. Okay, moving on to item 13, which is our insurance policy. Tom, do you want to introduce this one as
Well,
well?
this is something that we didn't have available at the time for our...
Oh, okay. So maybe you want to turn this over to George or Joe then? Okay.
And Joe was on vacation when the numbers came in, so I guess I'm stuck with this one. The numbers are very good. We tend to solicit proposals from multiple brokers in a cycle, and we've actually gotten them over most of the the last several years have gotten a competitive proposal. So this year we did not do that. However, if you compare our current rates of $25.05 with the proposed new rate of $27.94, the numbers are not really changing very much.
Yeah.
A whopping $289. So I'm very pleased by that. Liberty Mutual Insurance and our local broker, Batavia Wealth Management Agency, has done a really good job controlling expenses for us, and we haven't had any incidents that would, that would trigger a big increase in insurance. I'll knock on wood on that. Leah and Joe and I recommend approval of this insurance package. I think it's a very good set of rates for us.
Okay.
From Liberty Mutual.
From Liberty Mutual.
All right. Questions for George on this item? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve this item.
We have two from Liberty Mutual, which we don't.
What I'm showing is the prior year's rates.
Oh, I see.
2015-16.
Just for comparison, so you can see
Right.
how it's changed over the last 4 years.
Good, okay,
So 2794 is actually the
okay.
I move to approve this.
Okay. Moved by Schuster
I'll second.
and second by Smith. I guess we get to do a roll call here.
Dietrich,
Aye.
Henders,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Von Moonen,
Aye.
Schuster, aye.
Okay. Our insurance policy package is approved. Thank you. Item 14 is snow removal services. It's 75 degrees today, so clearly we won't need this for the coming winter, but I'll let George introduce it
But
anyway.
we might. Because the contractors tend to propose rates based on number of inches of snowfall and things, as I mentioned in my report, we developed a methodology back in 2010 where we have created several scenarios. We plug each vendor's numbers into that to give us a clearer picture. This year we had 3 proposals that we evaluated, and there were some anomalies that we discovered in our review. So this year for the first time for the committee and for the board, we showed what we usually show in the report, which is total snow removal and salting for parking lots and sidewalks. But then we broke out the parking lots only and the sidewalks only to give a more detailed comparison and evaluation of what really was going on in these proposals. And as you can see, it was an unusual scenario that we discovered. The numbers actually caused us to recommend Kozak Custom Landscapes Incorporated of Batavia, who also actually has a city contract. They've got a good experience here locally. And I give us several reasons for, at the end of the report, for particular reasons for why we also made that recommendation. But we think the bulk of the work is during a snowfall is the lots, and in addition to several other reasons, I've identified that during snowfall aisle clearing rates, which was only offered by Kozak, is significantly lower than the regular snow removal rates. They'll come during a heavier snowfall and clear the main aisles of the parking lot to make it easier for people to get in and out. So that, with a combination of some incompleteness and the other competitive proposal, caused us to recommend Kozak, and we think it's a good choice for the library. And the facilities committee, I think, concurred. I don't know if Andrew has anything he wants to add to that. His committee recommended this on one of the boards.
No, I agree with what you on here and put it all together. So it's, at first glance, it looks like American Artist Landscaping is the better price, but when you go through and really review what's there, I think in general, Kozak comes out better, as you mentioned, for a number of reasons. And I recall you had asked the other vendors to provide you additional information, and they, as of our meeting the other day, they still have not provided that additional
No,
information to
no.
allow you to evaluate it more closely, so.
No, and I think that difference in the parking lot versus sidewalk rates, I think, and that was a key issue, I think,
Right.
when the committee reviewed it as well.
Right, they were significantly lower, which makes us wonder why, so, and without any feedback from them.
So we, when we solicited prices, what did we ask them to provide?
Basically, what they all provide is a per inch rate for a series of inches, and then also a cost for salting for the parking lots and ice melt for the sidewalks. And the proposals generally look quite similar in nature because of that. Two of the vendors, the two lowest ones in fact, also provided an alternate proposal for an annual contract for a flat rate, which we felt was not a bit of a risk for the library. And,
Okay. So we didn't dictate how they would charge us. We allowed them to suggest how they want to invoice us, essentially, right?
It's pretty much an industry standard. I mean, all the proposals and all the companies we've worked with during my tenure tend to, we haven't dictated that they try to give us a different way of quoting, because the logical thing for them is, 1 to 3 inches, this is what our rate's going to be, and 4 to 6 inches, this is what our rate's going to
Right.
be. So I've actually not seen a proposal that wasn't formatted that way. So.
Okay. I guess what I'm...
When they're called back during the day, they come in the morning and clear it out, and then they have to come back in the afternoon, and then again in the evening. Is that 3 different
Yes.
trips?
Which is why the vendor we're recommending, when they come back during the snowfall, for example, they're giving us actually a lower rate to do just the aisles, since there typically will be cars parked. We will sometimes call them back for sidewalk work. One of the things we're missing from the second vendor was a rate list to tell us when they are coming back for special work, whether it's like hauling, in a bad winter, we reach a point where we have to have some snow actually physically hauled away because there's no place else left to put it. And we ask for that rate schedule, and that's what we have not received. So we don't even have numbers from that other vendor and what some of the special services would cost. And I don't know that we've really had a winter that we haven't at least once had to invoke some of the special services.
So what I was getting at is, I guess one of the problems you ran into here is that it's hard to make a pure apples to apples comparison because each one of them gave you something slightly different. And I guess if you had dictated a manner in which they needed to bid on this work, they would have had to, fill in all the boxes and send it back to you, and then you could make a perfect comparison.
Well, I see where you're going. Well, in the end, I don't know what else, I don't know another way to ask for it other than in inches, but what we found was that the costs for the different levels of inches vary quite widely. In some cases, it really spikes on a big snowfall. In other cases, it may not. So by creating the scenarios we did and plugging in the numbers, we could get a sense of sort of we could smooth out, I guess, the numbers and give us a better, I think even if we had, I don't know any other way to ask for it other than inches. The only difference really between,
But you asked for inches and you asked for some special cases. I mean, you weren't just asking for one number. So that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Right.
You had a variety of numbers you wanted them to give you, some gave them all, others didn't.
Right.
And that's just what I'm getting at, so.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. Most of these companies, the ones we've worked with over the years, which were in recent years, has been the Seal Coat Solutions and Thornapple actually were the two the most. Seal Coat has had it 6 out of the last 7 years, I think. Pretty much automatically include that information. Kozak included that information. Actually, even the
Seal Coat.
yes, the only one that didn't was American Artists, so because that wasn't there, because it wasn't a sealed bid process, it was more of a quotation proposal process, said, in order to be able to evaluate this, we need to have this. We didn't
Right.
get it, so.
Okay.
So, and George, do you remember what our over-under was for last year for snow removal?
Oh, gosh. We did
I don't
look
remember,
at
I don't know if that's a line item on our,
It's not a specific.
I didn't think so. I can't, I think you mentioned it in the meeting, but I don't remember what it was now.
I think we actually spent less than we budgeted last
Yeah.
year, but I'm not going to go to the bank on that without us looking it up.
Because that would just be one thing to look at in the future, is compare what we expected prices to be for events, and compare and make sure we're actually paying what we think we are per event, the way you're breaking out the schedule here.
Well, in fact, we evaluate that every time we get an invoice.
Okay.
We cross-check the snow reports and to make sure that there is no incorrectness or anomaly that shows in the. So we're getting billed for the number of incidents that we think we're supposed to be getting billed for.
Okay. All right.
All right, so, and we have a recommendation to hire Kozak as of, do we have a start date for them?
When it starts to snow.
Hopefully not until
It's
like
okay, I just-
January.
Well, it's basically.
Whenever you want to stop by.
It's the 2016-2017
Hopefully
season.
2018.
Yeah, pretty much from now until spring, that's
Okay.
pretty much the season.
All right, so,
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal from Kozak Custom Landscaping for the snow removal services for the upcoming winter.
okay, so we moved by Deitchman. and
Second.
Second by Schuster. I guess we'll do a roll call on this one.
Okay, Deitchman.
Aye.
Henders.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Van Lunen.
Aye.
Schuster, aye.
Okay, thank you. We are approved. And item 15 is future agenda items. We have a memo here in the packet. George, anything you want to mention about that?
Several things coming down the pike, but the major change from recent years is that the state library changed the due date for the per capita grant application. It used to be October 15th, so we typically approve it in September. It's now January 15th, and they didn't even release the application until the end of last week. So we couldn't do it if we wanted to do it. So we'll have that on the November agenda for you, and we like to make sure we get that application turned in. And otherwise, there's several projects, levy and policy issues that are coming your way.
Okay. All right.
Closed session.
And then item 16 is our next meetings and events. The ILA conference is, well, I guess it started today.
Started today, yeah.
Okay. And then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, moved by Deitchman and second by Van Lunen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.